This is Kings County, Nova Scotia, one of the richest parts of the province. But there are over 1,000 people here living in shacks like these.
You can see right outdoors there, the floor is right away from the wall altogether, right out there. Thing leaks, like I don't know why. In the winter time it's cold enough to freeze you to death. Got no fire at night. If you have to get up in the morning with a fire. So it's pretty bad. Oh, she was there.
DJ, you got my hands.
Did you watch Space Invaders today?
Voltron.
Yeah.
And I wrote down exactly what I wanted.
I don't know if they can survive here another winter or not, but...
Yeah. Yeah, but it's out of, yeah, used to have a pitched roof, now it's falling down. Yeah. Rain just comes in. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cold.
Cold at night.
Yeah.
I remember Kenny Elves. Even though he couldn't talk, we understood him clearly.
Yeah. The wind takes it quite badly too. Yeah.
It's been here a number of years too.
Oh, it's 5-6 years here, yeah. So he says his friend will come and get him a house, and that's why he's happy. Yeah. So, yeah, can't live here. Oh, it should be burnt. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Wants to burn it. Yes, I agree with him.
Poverty is still very much part of country life in Canada. I grew up in a small town where there were 10 of us living in a very tiny house. But now I work as a building contractor, building new homes for the poor. My name is Frank Spinney.
I remember the house we burnt down in Woofle. Yeah, you know, we go into a house and here's a place that's run down, got rats in it, they got 2 little children, and all it is a death trap and a fire trap. And I said, boys, we're going to take great pride in burning this one down. And and we burned it down and built one. It's not a great house, not a big house, but it's warm and it's dry, and it's not a fire hazard, not a death trap.
What gets me is that people like myself don't really realize that there's people out there like that, in need like that, until you come in front with it.
We see it on TV, right? We see it in other countries.
That's right.
But hey, these are Canadians, you know. These are our people, and all you got to do is go out and look around, and you see it. You know, you don't see it if you drive through town, but you go out on the mountains, go out in the back roads, go out, you know.
Jennifer Foster came here from Winnipeg. Working for her church, she soon found herself on those back roads.
I wasn't at all prepared for the kinds of things that I saw, people living in buses or shacks or trailers. For example, Cindy and Clarence live in a trailer, which is a truck body. It has no electricity, no plumbing. It's not insulated. It's heated with a wood stove. It could very easily burn.
He owns.
I see.
Or at least that's what neighbors claims he owns. Like up to the other side of his house.
Of his house.
So he only owns really one building lot.
Talking to Cindy and Clarence, Jennifer found that they just didn't qualify for any government housing program,
More than likely we put in
as even the smallest house available would have been far too expensive for them.
Do you have access to wood? Can you go and get wood around here any place?
Probably buy it.
Do you?
Buy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another person in the county with a deep commitment to change was Cameron Jess.
The obvious way to deal with the poor was simply to not deal with them at all. If you ignored them hard enough, they would go elsewhere. So this has caused a steady drain of people, of genes if you like, from the area, which has exacerbated the situation in terms of taking away the natural leadership that the area might have experienced.
And it was people like Cameron and Jennifer who gave us the leadership we needed to start to bring about change. And this led to the creation of an interchurch group in which Cameron and Jennifer played leading roles.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Alden.
You're welcome.
So how old is this house anyway?
Oh, I think it's 150 years old anyway, and probably more. I don't just know for sure.
Did one of your ancestors build it?
Oh, my great-grandfather.
First, they worked on a modest scale, raising money through donations and government, and made minor improvements and repairs to existing houses.
What did we do here?
Oh, put storm windows on, shingled the roofs, and put a beam under the floor, and shingled some around here.
And out of this work, several churches started working together.
The poverty in these communities is so overwhelming that no single organization or combined efforts of 3 or 4 organizations are going to be able to tackle this. And I think we are in a position...
The Anglican, the Baptist, the Catholic, and the United Church now became the Interchurch Housing Society. Now this, in a small town, is a miracle by itself. They figured they'd be much more effective as a group. And, of course, they were.
Reading the literature which this organization has created over the years is the notion of acting in a Christ-like manner. And what I understand that we're trying to do is to use housing as a lever to develop human resources. So the housing isn't an end in itself, as I conceive it. It is a means by which we attempt to bring people into participating in their community, to raise their self-esteem, to give them the resources to keep the promise which is implicit in their humanity, their being human beings. As a boy, I didn't think of myself as being poor or of the people around me as being poor. It didn't matter. The world was going to end, as my aunt often said, within 20 years at the outside. So what was important was to worry about preparing for that day of Armageddon and what lay beyond, not about the here and now of being poor. When I left Jehovah's Witnesses, I also rejected my entire early environment and went off to make a new life for myself in other parts of the world. I traveled around the world as a diplomat and as a development administrator, which gave me a pretty fair idea of the appalling conditions, the hopelessness under which a large part of humanity endure. But even that experience didn't really prepare me for what I found when I returned to Nova Scotia. I returned not as someone who expected to find poverty, and I was shocked and horrified by the poverty, the desperation. I found myself caught up almost involuntarily in trying to do something about this.
And like Cameron, Jennifer's concerns went beyond housing.
If we're trying to do the things that we want to do, at the same time do the things that Candy thinks that we should do, which is lobby government for a more equitable distribution of resources or whatever, or even for a guaranteed annual income, or if we say people are...
And religion had played an important part in her background too.
I come from a conventional middle-class family. My father died when I was 8. My mother was left with 4 children, young children to raise. I was the eldest, so I suppose I felt a sense of responsibility. I attended Catholic schools, St. Mary's Academy. I took very seriously, the saying of Christ, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. I'm married, and I had children, but I felt that it was important to be involved in the larger community. We are our brother's keeper, and I think that we have a responsibility to everybody out there.
Interchurch then moved on, from making minor repairs to existing houses to delivering new houses funded through federal government programs. These houses were fine for people on modest incomes and made it possible for hundreds of families to live in their own homes for the very first time. This work gave Interchurch both the experience and the funds necessary to start building up their own organization. The staff Interchurch hired were often people who knew poverty themselves. and who could teach from their own experience. Madonna was one of these.
From the time the client first comes into the office for an initial interview or to discuss their housing problems, we spend probably a year, sometimes 2 years working with them, sometimes longer than that. The first workshop that we do with them is on a homeowner's responsibilities, like what they have to do if they're getting a house. Everybody's really excited about getting a home. Oh, great, I'm going to own my own home. They think of all the good things about it. And I guess it's our job to let them know that along with the good things of home ownership are the bad things, like the responsibilities, things that they have to do. They have to look after their landscaping and their grounds. They have to get things fixed. They're not going to have a landlord to do things for them. So a big part of the counseling program is to make them aware of that they're not just going to be given a house. You know, they have to work for it. They have to make regular mortgage payments. We have to do a workshop on budgeting with them so that they are able to do that.
I think it was the third week in July I'd come down with this virus of some kind. Don't worry, it's not contagious. I ended up losing. I lost all my strength whatsoever. I ended up in bed for 2 weeks. And now because the unemployment people, due to the fact that they didn't want to give me any money while I was sick and I never received any benefits and everything, I'm having hard times with money right now.
We all quickly realized that you just couldn't give these people the keys, then walk away. Madonna often goes back to help them with any problems that may come up, sometimes just for a cup of coffee, but to let them know we're still there, to offer encouragement, to help them help themselves.
Hello. You're all settled in, Teresa?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
Tim, I had some response to the question that you asked at the workshop. I talked with Canada Mortgage and Housing, and they have agreed that not to increase your mortgage payment until the 1st of January. Will that help you out some?
Wow. That's a relief.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's going to help you a bit?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
This organization has been very successful in attracting government allocations and spending those allocations to create housing. But that success has been really at the expense of the hardcore poor, the group that this organization was set up to basically to help.
You know, maybe it started out to help the hardcore rural poor, and through the small loans program we always have done that. But I think it was